Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys how to create this beautiful top. And if you know this is what you're looking for, please continue to watch this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Thank you. So this is the fabric I'm going to be using, and I cut it using the biggest part of my measurement, which is my bust, added with 2 inches, and also for the length. So I am making a straight line which is going to be used as the starting of this pattern. So I'm going to be using that as my shoulder line, and from there I'm going to be marking 8 inches, which I'm going to be using as my chest line. I'm going to also mark 10.5 inch, which is my bust line, and I'm going to be marking the length of my top, which is 18 inches, and I'm going to be adding 1 inch allowance for folding. I'm going to be marking all through, stretching that line. Next up, I'm going to be taking my horizontal measurement, which is 7.5 inch for my shoulder line. I'm going to also take that 7.5 inch at my chest line, and then I'm going to mark my bust points, my round bust measurement divided by 4. I'm going to also place it down at my bust point, and then for my waistline, which is where my top is stopping, I'm just going to mark my waistline, which is 32 divided by 4, and that's 8 inches. So I'm just going to be marking 8 inches at the lower part, and then I'm going to be adding 1 extra inch to it. So at the top, I'm just going to connect that chest line to the shoulder line like so, because we are trying to form the armhole measurement. I'm going to be going in by 3 inches for my neck width, and then I'm going to be coming down by 1 inch at my armhole line. I'm going to be connecting that because our shoulders are slanted and not straight. Taking my armhole measurement, which is 7, I'm going to be dividing that into 2, and that's going to give me 3.5 inches. So I'm just going to mark at that 3.5 inch like so. And from that 3.5 inch mark, we're going to come in by 0.5 inch. Now this is how to create your front pattern armhole. Coming down to my chest line, I'm going to be taking my bust measurement, yes, my bust measurement on my chest line, and I'm going to add 1 inch sewing allowance to it. Now this is because I'm about to form my armhole. Now I'm going to connect from my shoulder to that 0.5 inch I took in at the armhole, and I'm just going to curve it gently like you see me do. And we formed our armhole with that. Next, I'm going to be joining my measurement from the chest line to the length of our top, and I also like joining my main measurements so that it gives me an idea on where to sew. Coming down to my neckline, I'm going to be coming down by 1 inch. Okay, I think I'll go by 0.5 inch because I don't want it to be too tight at the back. So I'm going to be coming in by 1.5 inch, and I'm just going to be curving it gently like you see me do. And the next thing we do is just to cut out our pieces. Now I forgot one thing. What I do at the shoulder, I usually take 0.5 inch sewing allowance at the shoulder, because it's very good for me from how I've been sewing. If I sew in from my normal cutting, my armhole is going to be tight. So to avoid that, I take out 0.5 inch and you're just going to cut like so. And don't forget, don't cut the armhole that you measured for the front. So this is our back piece, and the next thing we are going to do is to create our front piece. This is what it looks when you open it up. Now for our front piece, I'm going to get my materials because I'm going to be using two materials, a plain and pattern. I'm just going to make sure it's wide enough for my clothes. And how I took this measurement is I'm just going to take my round measurement of all my bust, my waist, and I'm just going to divide it into 2 instead of 4, and so that's how I got that. So I'm going to be pinning my back piece to this pattern so that it's not going to move, because I'm basically going to be cutting out the front piece from my back. So after doing this, do not forget your center back, which is on fold, is supposed to be facing the side of your material that has more fabric. So at the lower part of this pattern, I'm going to be taking, because my waist measurement is 32, so if you divide it by 2, it's going to give you 16. So since I've already taken 8 on the other side, I'm going to replace the 8 again on this other side of the new fabric. And then I'm just going to join my main waistline and my 1-inch sewing folding allowance on my new fabric. Now I'm going to be going up by 2 inches from my main waist line, not my 1-inch folding allowance. I'm going to be going in by my main inch. Then from my neckline, I'm going to be placing 6.5 inch from my 1.5 inch neckline. So make sure your tape is at 1.5 inch before you take your 6.5 inch, and whatever depth you take for your front line, that depends. It's also going to show most of your bust. If you take more inches, your bust is going to show more. So I'm going to take 6.5 because I don't want that to happen. Now I'm going to fold in my neckline, so it's going to meet my 3 inches neck width, and I'm just going to draw a straight line like you see me do. And then from there, I'm just going to gently slope into my 2-inch mark I took at the lower part of my fabric, like you see me do. And then I'm just going to cut out my fabric. Now I've separated my back and my front piece, and I'm going to replace my 1.5 inch mark I took for my shoulder allowance, because we are trying to recreate our armhole to the front. And from there, we are going to take 3.5 inch from our shoulder line, and then we are going to come in by 1/2 inch. I'm going to be using my ruler to connect my shoulder to that 1.5 inch. And then, like we did before, just gently curve and then you just cut out the piece. And so we have our front and our back piece. Now for the front piece, this is how it's going to be looking, plain and pattern. As you can see, our clothes is already taking shape. So I'm just going to be cutting lining pieces for my front piece, and then off camera I cut 30 inches long and 2.5 inches wide strip for my belt. So taking this, I've cut my lining and I'm going to be taking it down to my machine to be sewn. I didn't put lining at the back because I didn't want the clothes to be too heavy. So I'm just going to be sewing from the front using a 1/4 inch, and then when I get to that 2-inch mark, I'm just going to place my belt and sew. So yes, this is it, and I've sewn the clothes and I've also ironed it. It's easier when you sew and iron, and to get a very smooth result like this, what I used my hemming gum to put inside, and I also created a facing for my back neck and also used my hemming gum to place it down. So I'm going to be taking this to the machine. I'm going to be sewing the sides and the shoulder, and I'm also going to be folding in at the bottom part using a 1/4 inch like you're seeing me do. I'm going to take it to my ironing board and press it. So guys, I've sewn the shoulder like so, and also I've taken the sides in by 1 inch, and the dress is already ready. I've done the back. So what we're going to do now is to create our sleeve, and I'm going to be using a puff sleeve. So you're going to be taking the measurements of your armhole. So like you see me sew, I'm going to take my measurements, and what I got from my armhole was 19 inches. Now this is material I'm using for my sleeve, and it's a puff sleeve. So my length is 12 inches and my width is 22 inches because it's puff, so it's supposed to be very big. So the line you see in there from the starting point of my sleeve, the head of my sleeve, I'm going to be taking down 4 inches, and then I'm just going to be creating this S curve. You really don't need to make it like a standard curve for sleeve because it's puff, so really nobody is going to care about it. And don't forget, the material is on fold, so you will see me do the S curve. So you just follow me and do what you have seen, and I'm just creating this so that I'm not going to have excess material under my armpit. So all we need to do is just cut through. So guys, this is the finished look. I'm sorry I could not do a video of how I made the sleeve because the light went off and I couldn't continue my recording, but this is it, and you're going to see me wear it at the end of this video. So please, if you know you like this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and turn on your notification bell so that you're going to be notified whenever I drop any video.